Hey, folks, glad you could be here. Running about 42 seconds late there. Sorry about that. We had a little issue because we're going to be, we usually broadcast on Facebook and Instagram. We're now adding Twitch and YouTube and LinkedIn. So this is exciting that we're trying something new here today, and it's our first run with it. So we were 42 seconds behind. So anyway, welcome. If it's the first time joining us, I'm glad you could be here. The way this works is really a cool little system. What we do is we do two 24-minute segments. So we'll do a segment of 24 minutes of me yapping. That audio is then used for WSB B98 and 97.1 The River in Atlanta for their Sunday morning shows. Then I'll answer any health questions you might have, and you can type them in. Joe, my assistant, will write down the questions for me, ask them at the 24-minute break. Then I do another 24-minute segment, and then we do your questions again. So any healthcare questions you have, please feel free to type it in. You need to do me a favor. This is your cover charge. I want you to, if you're listening live right now, put in hashtag live. Right now, put it in. And if you're listening to this on a replay, put in hashtag replay. So however you're listening, I need you to put the hashtag in, and this way the bots can find us and make us more popular. So, but I'd love to have your questions at the breaks, so type them in, and whatever system you're on, Joe will then answer them for me. So whenever you're ready, Joe, I am ready to get rocking here. Joe's got a little screen behind his camera there, and it's got a big clock on it, and so he's got to tell me when to start and stop. So otherwise, I'll talk forever. Ready, set. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am very happy that you're here. We're going to talk about today's big issue. I think most people have this issue, and it's food addiction. How many people have trouble when they start eating, they can't stop? Raise your hands. A lot of you do. Not everyone, but a lot of people do. And it's a big issue because so many people have it, and there's a science called food science that works on making sure that you get more addicted to food. Now, why would that be? Well, you're going to buy more product. You know, there was a campaign a long time ago, can't eat just one. Remember that for potato chips? Can't eat just one. Well, there's a science behind that. Well, how can we make that potato chip so alluring, so addicting, that you can't eat just one? Well, that's what businesses are trying to do. Now, in a capitalist society, you want to sell more product. You don't have to buy more product. I'm going to teach you ways to get around these food addictions, how to reset the brain, essentially, so that those cravings start to go away. And it's a really simple, easy process. Companies, of course, don't want you to know these things because they want you to buy more products, but I'm going to share with you some tricks that work. Because guess what? I have the same problem you do. We all do. There are certain foods that stimulate a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens, and it releases dopamine, and you get high from it, and you don't want to stop eating it. And I totally understand that, but you have to get, first of all, you have to know it's there. I remember when I studied orthopedics, I have 5 boards. In fact, I just did it just before this. I was on a podcast with Dr. Rob Silverman out of New York, brilliant doctor. I was a guest on his show. And he said, you have 4 diplomates. That's amazing. And I said, no, I have 5 diplomates. So I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, and double board certified in nutrition. So all the research that I do, I try to find out why things happen. So we're going to talk about why the food addiction is there. So food addiction is defined as an eating behavior involving overconsumption of specific foods in an addiction-like manner. What is an addiction? An addiction is something you're doing that has an adverse effect on your life. And so people say, well, I can stop drinking anytime. Well, no, drinking is going to have an adverse effect on your life no matter what. I would say a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of brain damage, a lot of alcohol, a lot of brain damage. But we're finding now that it just isn't alcohol and drugs, it's food, and it's other things too. Gambling you can get addicted to. So we want to make you understand the neurology that goes on behind this so that you can have a better understanding of what's going on. So what happened is they're using a clinical scale to measure this, and it's called the Yale Food Addiction Severity Scale. Of course, obviously from Yale University. And it's constructed to match something called the DSM-4 criteria for substance addiction. So there is a criteria set up for substance addiction, like drugs and alcohol. So they've made the food addiction scale match so that we can say how addicting is something. And in January this year, 2022, they found up to 20% of the general population could be diagnosed with food addiction. So 1 in 5 people, you sit in a room, 4 other people and you, 1 of you are a food addict. and it adversely affects your life, adversely affects your health. So this is interesting. Research has repeatedly demonstrated that food addiction is virtually indistinguishable from the addiction to drugs. Food addiction, indistinguishable from an addiction to drugs. One substance long suspected of being addictive is what? Sugar. So sugar is a big issue. And there's a 2019 study that said excessive sucrose, which is table sugar, consumption elicits addiction-like craving that may underpin the obesity epidemic. Now, when I was a kid, I was fat. I could say the F word. And I was probably 10 years old. And the thing that got me was I tried playing with my cousins, and my cousins Johnny, Paulie, and Mikey, and they were real thin and wiry, and we tried to play stickball, and we tried to play manhunt, and we play whatever games we were playing, and I couldn't keep up with them. I would just couldn't do it. And then one day, and I have this picture actually. My mother gave it to me before she passed. It's a picture of me in a bathing suit standing in front of my house where I grew up. And you can't see the top of the bathing suit. My fat is hanging down over the top of the bathing suit. And I was probably 8 years old at the time. And that picture motivated me. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. What can I do to fix this? And so that's when I started doing something simple as drinking a lot of water. Because in my 8-year-old, 10-year-old mind, however old I was that if my stomach can only hold so much volume, if I drank water first, I wouldn't have any more room for food. That was my simple thinking. Good point. Wasn't the mechanism behind it, but it worked because many times when you're hungry, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. So the first thing when it comes to food addiction is I want you to drink more water. Because there's a part of your brain, like I said, nucleus accumbens, and hypothalamus. And hypothalamus, the part of your brain that controls hunger and thirst, is in the hypothalamus. So many times that the hypothalamus is being activated and you think you're hungry when actually you're thirsty. So when you're an infant, you can tell the difference. Those two parts of the brain in the hypothalamus are different, and as you get older, they grow together. And as they grow together, you have a tough time distinguishing between hunger and thirst. So real simple fix. Simplest, easiest, cheapest thing you can do is before you eat, I want you to have a glass of water. Big glass of water. 8, 10, 12 ounces, 16 ounces, whatever you want. And notice how much less you eat. That is a pearl of knowledge that I just shared with you. So you drink more water, you'll eat less food, you'll save more money, you'll eat better foods, you'll make better decisions, and there's no downside to using that little trick to help get over your addiction when it comes to food. I always say I can't eat a cookie. I can eat a box of cookies, but I can't eat a cookie. Because once I have that cookie and it goes into my brain and the sugar stimulates the nucleus accumbens and nucleus accumbens releases dopamine, I got high. And I want to stay getting high, so what do? Eat more cookies. It's very simple. So water is going to be a big key here because you're going to eat less because you're going to make better decisions. You're not as hungry. And the other secret I want to share with you about eating right is get the bad food out of the house. If you have bad food in the house, chances are pretty high that you're going to eat it. Now, if you have good food in the house, then you have to. I love filling up my refrigerator. I went shopping last night, and I had tomatoes and kiwis and nectarines and what else did I buy? Oranges, tangerines. So I grew up really poor. My father was disabled, extremely poor growing up. And we didn't waste anything. I mean, nothing was wasted in our house. My grandparents even fill up a sink in the bathroom and wash their hands in the same water all day. Certainly not sanitary, but they grew up during the Depression. They came over, they escaped Hitler in the early 20s, and they came to America, lived through the Depression. They didn't waste anything. So in my mind, in my rudimentary young child, little Joey's mind, is we don't waste anything. So if I have a lot of good food in my house, I'm going to eat it. I don't want it to go bad. If I have a lot of junk food in my house, I'm going to eat it. Why? Don't want it to go bad. So get the bad food out of the house, drink a lot of water. So what happens with sugar, in layman's terms, sugar consumption, it triggers a release of the opioids, dopamine, in the animal's brain, and that lowers the availability of what's called receptors. So let me give you a little neurology class. If I lose you, I apologize. Your brain releases chemicals. Let's say we're talking about dopamine right now. So dopamine is released, and then there's a receptor in another part of the brain that absorbs that dopamine, and that's what gives you that high feeling. So it's got to be released and then absorbed. If you release a lot of dopamine, a lot of the receptors get filled up. Now the brain says, this is overstimulation. I shouldn't have this many receptors all filled up at once. I'm going to downregulate my receptors. So the receptors are not going to be as receptive to dopamine. You're not going to get as high from it. So you downregulate the receptor so that you have to produce more dopamine to fill up more receptors to get the same high you got the first time. Hope that makes sense to you. So whenever you have an addiction, the pleasure centers are downregulated. They're not working as efficiently as they used to. So now you need more of that stimulation to get the same response. And that's where the challenge comes in. If the brain is overstimulated, it's downregulated. The drawback of this mechanism is that you need the higher dose of the substance that gave you the same pleasure, and that's the key mechanism behind addiction. So either A, you're downregulating and you're not utilizing the receptors. Some people genetically don't have as many receptors, so they can't absorb the dopamine or the pleasure, whatever's being released, the neurotransmitter, and so they force it by driving more and more of that chemical into those receptors. So it's a brain thing. Addiction is in the brain. It's not in the stomach. Cookies don't go to the stomach. Well, they go to the stomach, but they stimulate the brain. And that's the key. Another thing that I find, and I just had this happen the other day, is I'll eat and I won't feel full. I know I ate enough food. My stomach is hurting, but my brain is saying, keep eating. You need a little more, a little more, a little more. And what happens is your stomach releases a chemical called leptin. Now, it's a hormone. Leptin goes into the hypothalamus and it says that you're full. If you produce a lot of leptin, because you ate a lot of food over the years, the receptors in the hypothalamus become resistant. It's getting bombarded with too much of this leptin, and the receptors say, I can't take any more. I'm going to stop recognizing that you're there. I'm going to ignore you. And so what happens is you become leptin resistant. And I know when I start feeling fat and flubbery, and I start feeling like I can't stop eating, there's something wrong with my stomach, and there's something wrong with my brain. So what I find many times, my stomach is pushed up against my diaphragm. And whenever the stomach pushes up against the diaphragm, in my case, I want to keep eating. As soon as I get my stomach adjusted or pulled down away from the diaphragm, I feel better, I feel satisfied, and the bloating, the gas, that flubberiness starts to go away. So many times our food issues are physical, not just chemical. Did you follow all that? I hope you did. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, you might want to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, and we can actually physically pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm, get the stomach to relax so that you can then start producing leptin, digest your nutrients properly, pass out your waste products properly, and stimulate the hypothalamus in the brain so that you do feel full. That's a lot of chemistry I know I just threw out at you, but I want you to understand the mechanism of food addiction. It's a brain thing, oftentimes related to a stomach thing. And so you have to slow down that production of that dopamine or that release of that dopamine so that the brain kind of reboots itself. And so adjusting the stomach, pulling the stomach away from the diaphragm, getting the bad food out of the house, drinking a lot of water, these are real simple, easy steps that you can start taking today to start getting over that addiction. Now, we have a program. It's on the website, Dr. Joe, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and it's a 21-day weight loss protocol. It's also sometimes called a cleanse or a detox. Just type in 21-day and it'll come up. And it's a protocol. We get you on a lot of supplements, eating really good foods for the first couple of days, taking shakes, nutrition shakes. So what I'm doing is I'm front-loading you on nutrition. Because many times you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And if I can front-load you on high-quality nutrition, the brain says, you know what, I've got all I need. I got plenty of nutrients. You can stop eating for a while. And when we're able to do that, the brain essentially resets itself. It reboots itself. And then you're able to deal with the cravings as well. I just had a patient the other day call in one of my radio shows. Not a patient, just somebody who got the supplements. He says, Doc, I got to tell you. He says, I started taking the 21-day cleanse. He said, I had a yeast infection. It cleared up. He says, I'm eating great. I've never felt better in my life. He says, I know you said to do this for 21 days. Can I do it longer? And the answer is yes. Of course you can. And he says, Doc, I've never felt this good. He says, I'm 65 years old. I feel like I'm a kid again. He says, what the heck is in this stuff? So when your body gets the right nutrients that it needs, it runs much more efficiently. And that's the goal. If the brain is running efficiently, it doesn't start craving these outside stimulants, whether it's cigarettes or coffee or chocolate or food or gambling or social interactions. We'll keep it clean because it's a family show. Many of these addictions we can fix or stabilize by getting the brain working properly. So it's really kind of cool stuff. You don't have to be a victim. Because so many people say, well, I'm a victim. I have to do this. I have to go to meetings. I have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. I suffer every day. Yeah, but do something proactive too. Fix the nervous system, fix the digestive system, fix your diet. And in most cases, we do great. So I want to say this too. If you want to come see us, and I know every time we do shows, people say, Dr. Joe, I'd love to be a patient in your clinic with me and my other doctors. If you'd like to become a patient, if you have health issues, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, cold feet, neuropathy, acid reflux, go to our website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right online. We would love the opportunity to work with you to help get well and stay well. Somebody asked me the other day, I've been in practice 37 years. They said, how do you keep this energy level after 37 years? I said, it never gets old when I watch people get well. I get so excited watching people get well. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, drjoe, drjoe.com. Feel free to book it right online. You can call us. The number's right there on the website. And we are happy to set you up an appointment as quickly as possible. We accept people with all insurances. Some have in-network, some have out-of-network benefits, cash patients, car accidents. Oh, car accidents. If you're ever in a car accident, if the car's damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So please come see us immediately. There's a lot of scam doctors and scam lawyers out there. I want you to get the treatment that you need and also be able to deal with it. So whether you cause the accident or somebody hits you, drjoe.com, you need to come see us right away. All right, so we talked a little bit about, we're talking about food addiction. And in food science, they create something called hyperpalatable processed foods. Now, this is in the Frontiers of Psychiatry. It's a paper. Hyperpalatable foods, which typically contain carefully orchestrated combination of salt, sugar, artificial flavors, and fats, are very problematic. High sodium foods, artificial flavors, rich carbohydrates, saturated fats, all trigger the activation of the same neural pathways as a drug addiction does. The neural pathways is the pathways in the brain where the nerves work. So once you get these hyperpalatable processed foods and you start eating them, you're getting high from them. And it's really hard to stop. Fat-rich food addiction is a diagnosable condition. However, they specify in this paper that they're not referring simply to high-fat foods, but rather hyperpalatable processed foods, which are high in fat and sugar. And so the fat and the sugar is the key. High-fat foods, you don't go crazy and keep eating them. Like you can stop eating a half an avocado. Potato chips, which are high in fat and carbohydrates and salt, and many times artificial flavors, that's where you start having the problems. So it's not the fat alone that's the problem. It's the fat combined with the sugar. And so I want you to understand that because it's okay to eat certain foods. Healthy fats, not the big problem. Fats and sugars, big problem. Now, I got to be careful because I don't do well eating a lot of fatty foods. And I know there's a lot of weight loss programs out there that say, oh, we're going to put you on a high-fat diet. You're going to eat bacon, and you're going to eat steak, and you're going to eat butter, and you're going to lose weight. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit later about why that's a myth, why it does work, but why it's not the healthiest choice. So later on, the second part, I'm going to talk about nutrition myths. I'm going to debunk a few nutrition myths. I'm going to answer questions that come in. Now, if you have a question, you can send it through the website, drjoe.com, and we answer all our questions. In fact, somebody just the other day dropped off a handwritten letter at one of our offices, taped it to the door, and said, I don't have a computer, I don't have a phone, but I listen to you on the radio all the time, and so here's some questions. And he put a self-addressed stamped envelope in there. And, of course, I'm going to answer the questions. So if you have issues, you have concerns, drjoe.com. But the best thing to do, really, is just make an appointment. Because sometimes people send me 4, 5, 6 questions. I'm like, this is more than just a quick email response. You need to come see us as quickly as possible. So we'd love to have you as a patient. Again, very affordable. The initial visit is normally $712. For our listeners, all you have to do is say, I listen to the Dr. Joe Show. We've brought that down to $299. That's crazy. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone oftentimes cost more than $299. So you're getting a lot for your dollar because I want to let you know that we do care about you and we want to get you the best possible care that we feel that we can offer you. So drjoe.com if you want to make an appointment. Love to have you as a patient. And the biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I wait so long to come in and listen to you and start getting under care and changing my diet, taking supplements? The other thing we talked about the 21-day cleanse. The minimum supplements I think everybody should be taking are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. Take a scoop of each, shake it up with some coconut milk, almond milk, and I take it every morning when I wake up. First thing in the morning, that's what I take. Thousands of people all over the world take it first thing every day. Countless patients and people that have got the products have said to me, Dr. Joe, I can't afford not to take Super Greens and Essential Source. And the first time they said that, I didn't understand it. What do you mean by that? Because I eat so much less because that curbs my appetite. Because again, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And we're going to front load you on nutrition first thing in the morning. You'll be amazed how much better you feel in most cases and how much money you'll save. So, boy, that's a really great reward there, right? That's a great thing to purchase because it's going to save you money, going to feel better, eat less food, make better choices. No downside that I can see. So, drjoe.com. All the supplements, by the way, that I talk about at all my shows are on the website, drjoe.com. So you can scroll through the store, see what you got there. If you have any questions, let us know. But, yeah, Super Greens and Essential Source. I can't imagine not taking that every day. Man, that would be like punishment to me. So, talking about food addiction, the neural systems that motivate and reinforce food seeking and intake also, it's the same neurological pathway that occurs when you're an addict. So it's not so much the fat that's the problem, it's the fat with the sugar. Now, I started saying earlier, I can't eat a lot of fatty foods. If I eat a lot of nuts, if I eat a lot of avocados, I put on weight really quickly. Now, there are different body types, different metabolic types. I can't do a lot of fats. So be careful with the fats. If you're using fat, that fats can make you fat. So just be careful with that. If you notice, well, Dr. Joe, you said eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I'm eating nuts every day. I'm putting on weight. Had a patient the other day come to me and says, listen, I'm doing everything you said. I'm feeling great, but I'm putting on weight. I'm trying to lose and I'm gaining. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I eat handfuls of dates every day, like a box a day. Well, that's a lot of super concentrated sugar. Even though it's good, better sugar, still a lot of sugar. And sugar in the process turns into fat. I won't bore you with details on that. But I said, you got to cut out the dates. He goes, yeah, but I love them. I said, I know you love them because it's sugar. It's sugar stimulating the dopamine receptor sites in the brain. You're getting high from it. Have one date. He says, I don't know if I can do just one. Then don't eat any. Go to other fruits, whole foods, because it's dehydrated, concentrated things like dried dates are really high concentrated sugar. So be careful with that. So again, it's the sugar that really stimulates the whole process, but many times it comes along with fat. So the sugar makes you fat and the fat makes you fat. And then you get fat, and I remember being young and going, I don't care. So what? What's one more ice cream? What's one more bowl of cereal? It doesn't matter at this point. And a lot of people get to that in their weight loss or their journeys, their health journeys, where they just give up. Don't give up. Sometimes you got to take a little break. I understand that. But if you can suck it up and get back on track again, you'll be amazed. If you don't know what to eat, go to our website, drjoe.com, and just type in So What Can I Eat and listen to a show I did on So What You Can Eat. And it talks about everything, breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks. I've written books on the topic, Eating Right for the Health of It, Prescription for Extreme Health. The website's an amazing source of information, drjoe.com. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it, Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we have hundreds and hundreds of hours of podcasts. Search the website, type in what you're looking for. We've probably done a show or a podcast or an article on it. And again, any questions, you can send them through the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. I said this the other day, too. If the VA refers you to chiropractors, okay, and Donald Trump really opened up a lot of this for chiropractic in the VA, because chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. VA patients have a lot of back pain. So the VA came to the realization it's cheaper for us to send them out to a chiropractor than it is for us to treat them in-house. So why wouldn't you do that? Well, finally, we got that passed, thank goodness, a couple of years ago. So now if the VA refers you to us, and our clinics, we all accept VA patients, all 4 clinics, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb in the Atlanta area. If they refer you to us, they cover the cost. So if you're a VA member, you can go ahead and do that. All right, so real quick, what do? You got to eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. You got to get the bad food out of the house. You got to drink more water. You got to get nutrients in your body to reset the brain. And if you have digestive issues, acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, please come see us. Because many times we can adjust that, pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, And in many cases, that resets the process of digestion. I think it helps leptin. I haven't seen any direct research on that, but it helps for me, and so I feel full. So you may not have to be a victim of this. You may not have to say, well, I'm just fat, or I just can't stop eating, or no, it's nobody's fault. You just were never taught how to eat, what to eat, and how to get the nervous system working. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We'd love to see you as a patient. drjoe.com, 2,000 hours of podcasts. Anything we can do to help get you well and keep you well, drjoe.com is where it's at. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. All right. Any questions?
We have a few questions
I
here.
will take questions now.
This is for you, or it could be for Dr. Cat too. Bananas, yay or nay?
Yay. Why Dr. Cat?
She loves bananas.
Oh, she likes bananas. That's true. Bananas and dates, yeah. But she eats really well, and she's in amazingly fit shape. If you haven't met Dr. Cat, she's one of my many superstars that works here. Yeah, bananas are okay. Too many of them, again, like dates, they can put on some weight. But, yeah, bananas are great. I have no problem with them. Do organic. It's a better choice. They only cost a few pennies more. So, what else?
Could you send a video of how to pull the stomach down, please?
Send video. Well, it's really, you can't do it yourself. That's the problem, because you don't know what you're doing. And if you do it wrong, then it becomes a problem. It's like saying, well, show me how to adjust your neck. No, I'm not going to show you how to adjust the neck. So if you go to the website, drjoe.com, just type in GERD, G-E-R-D, that's gastroesophageal reflux disease. We have an article with diagrams on how it's done. But I don't want you trying this yourself because you can cause damage. So. But basically, it's this. Okay, there. There's your video. What else?
Might adjust your neck the way they do in action movies, right?
Oops, yeah. And a lot of these chiropractors online doing this stuff, that's all dubbed with sounds and stuff like that, so don't think that's real. So, what else? Keep going. I'm going to stretch here for a second.
All right. What do you suggest to eat when a person has had mouth surgery and can only eat soft foods?
Certainly Super Green's an essential source. Essential source. You can do it twice a day. You can whip it up with some frozen bananas or some blueberries if you want to. Some frozen fruit is amazing. Again, Super Greens is a great source of protein as well. You don't need a lot of protein, but again, if you're not eating a lot of food. So Super Greens is an essential source twice a day. Frozen bananas, any type of frozen fruit, pineapple, blueberries. You might want to stay away from the pineapple. I rescind that statement. Because pineapple sometimes can irritate the inside of your mouth. You know, sometimes you get pimples on your mouth from pineapple. But any type of frozen fruit, melons, things like this would be great. Hummus would be great if you can't chew anything. Just make hummus. Don't even buy it. It's ridiculous to buy it. It's so expensive. It's so cheap to make. Look up any recipe in my book, Eating Right for the Health of It. We have recipes, but it's chickpeas, tahini. You want to put some olive oil in there, some olives. That's great. Use olives even better. You can put garlic in there. Salt, you might be careful with your mouth. You might want to avoid that. Roasted peppers works well in there too. So it's so easy to make hummus, and it's ridiculous why people ever buy it. But those would be great choices at this point until the mouth heals. So Super Greens Essential Source is going to be your thing. And I'd also recommend vitamin D to help the immune system. 5 drops of Dr. Joe's vitamin D a day. What else you got?
What's best to eat with insulin resistance?
Listen. Go to our website, type in diabetes into our search bar, listen to the show we had on diabetes. The key is fiber. If you're eating 68 to 72 grams of fiber a day, one report I read said you can reduce or eliminate the need for most medications and reverse insulin resistance. So listen to the show we did on diabetes. We really break it down on how to do it. Really easy to do. Supplement-wise, Super Greens an essential source. Absolutely. Everyone should be doing that anyway. And then I'm also going to recommend something called Gymnema. Now, Gymnema, you've got to go through our website to another website. So go to clinics, go to Standard Process. Can you just search Standard Process, Joe? Will it bring you to the site? Have you searched the website?
No, it's a link in the
Oh, it's a link.
so you
Okay.
have to click
So
on
go
it.
to clinics, then Standard Process, and type in Gymnema, Gymnema, Gymnema. And Gymnema is great for stabilizing blood sugar. But fiber and Gymnema, Super Greens, an essential source, will be great supplement-wise, and then you'll be able to make better choices of what you're eating. But in most cases, insulin resistance is reversible, which is the good news. What else you got?
That's it.
Anybody watching on the other streams that we're trying today? LinkedIn or anyone? Can you tell?
I can't really tell. All the chat over here has been from Facebook.
Okay. All right.
If
We'll
they
try and
are, they're quiet.
Yes, everybody's quiet. So we're trying to stream on other services. So also, if you're watching live, please type in hashtag live right now. Do that for me. I appreciate it. This way the bots know that we're out there. And if you're listening to us on a replay, just type in hashtag replay. And this way the bots know that as well. Hashtag, the symbol. Don't write the word hashtag, the actual symbol hashtag. So, all right, you ready to do pot 2? Okay. All right, ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Thanks for being here. I know everybody's got a busy schedule, and I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us. What we're going to do now is we're going to answer questions. I get questions all day, every day, and I'm amazed. The website is drjoe.com. I'm amazed when questions come in. 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just amazed that people are up on our website. So they should listen to our show we did on sleep, and maybe they wouldn't be there. So if you're looking for something on the website, just type in what you're looking for in the search bar. Chances are we've covered it for you already. But questions come in all the time. I don't think a day goes by where we don't get several questions. I answer them. My assistant over here, Joe, also answers them. So we try to get the questions answered as quickly as possible. We will get back to you. So don't think we're ignoring you if we don't get back to you immediately. I tell the story. We had somebody at like 2 o'clock in the morning, like, hello, anybody there? Why are you not answering me? I'm like, well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You should be sleeping. And we don't monitor it 24 hours a day because Joe and I have to sleep. We do that. I know. People are amazed that we sleep, but we do. So I get questions all day, every day. And what I always say is, if you have a question, probably a lot of other people have questions too. So that's why when I do my live shows, a lot of times we do take questions because it's a lot of fun because it helps answer issues that other people have. And your question is going to be helpful because it's going to share that information with a lot of people that may be too shy to call in, may not even realize they have the problem. Wait a minute, I do have that problem. Well, what do we do about it? So that's what we try to do. I'm not promising anything. I can't have any guarantees, but I can tell you that in most cases, this is a great starting point, just answering questions for folks. So, and if you do have questions, you can send them to me through the website, drjoe.com, and I'll get to them when I can. I promise you we're going to get to them. So if you don't hear back from us in 24 hours, then you can be concerned. But in most cases, Joe and I get back to you even quickly, even on the weekends. So nutritional questions, I don't think anybody doesn't have. I have questions. And I have to turn to my mentors and say, hey, what do you do about this? What do you do about that? I have this one patient or me. What do I do for it? So food is a contentious topic. Some people say it's got to be high protein, low carb, low fat, high fat, vegan, meat-based, omnivore, variety, everything in moderation. Believe me, I've heard it all. You're not going to tell me anything new. So everybody seems to have an opinion, what to eat, what not to eat. So people have various reasons for eating or not eating certain foods. Oftentimes they fall victim to food myths that are perpetuated kind of like old wives' tales. Well, you need this for that. Well, not necessarily. Or when you get into this list today, yeah, but. Okay, yeah, you do need this, but make sure you do it this way. So one of the questions I get, especially with viruses and colds and flu, is if I take more vitamin C, that's going to help. Now, taking vitamin C, it's probably not going to prevent your cold by itself. That's the key right there, by itself. It may make a cold less severe, may shorten the duration, but research suggests that it's kind of limited on that as well. Vitamin C is an essential nutrient for the human diet, but instead of supplements, I want you to start thinking about whole food sources. Peppers, citrus fruit, green leafy vegetables, broccoli, strawberries, most fruit is going to have vitamin C in it. Meats and dairy products, 0 vitamin C. So in order to get your vitamin C, it's got to come from plants. Now, what about a supplement? Well, there's 2 types of supplements. There's pure vitamin C, and there's also something called ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid, if you look at it from molecular structure, is only 1/8 of the vitamin C molecule. Vitamin C molecule has 8 sides to it, or 8 portions. And so it's only 1/8 of the vitamin C molecule. So many times people say, and the government says you can call ascorbic acid vitamin C. It's not quite the same. It ain't nothing like the real thing, as a song once said. So pure vitamin C is a much better choice. So if you're going to do a supplement, again, I don't think you need to, but if you do, make sure it's pure vitamin C. It might come from rose hips or cherries, but it's not, I wouldn't recommend anything that says ascorbic acid. It's not the purest form. Now, talk about preventing a cold. You can go to our website, drjoe.com, and just type in colds and flu, or cold, I think it is. And we did a show on colds and flu and what causes them and how we can work with the body to stay healthier. Not saying I have a cure. I'm just saying that there are things we can do to try to get better results from it. More important than vitamin C is vitamin D. Now, there's two types. There's vitamin D2 and there's vitamin D3. Vitamin D2 is a synthetic version of vitamin D3. That's the one you get as a prescription. That's the one where doctors will say take 50,000 international units of vitamin D2 once a week. Well, that doesn't work as well as taking small amounts of vitamin D3 throughout the week. Because your body can only absorb so much stuff. Whatever that stuff is, your body is limited on its capability to absorb. So I'd rather see you have a little bit throughout the week. So what I do, I take Dr. Joe's vitamin D3. It's on the website, drjoe.com, and I take 5 drops a day. That's 5,000 international units. It's also very important to take vitamin D3 with K2 because D3 helps you absorb helps you, let's say, calcium. D3 helps you absorb calcium, but vitamin K2 drives it into the bones. If you eat taking vitamin D3 and you don't have a good plant-based diet, which is a good source of vitamin K2, what's going to happen is you can absorb the calcium and it's going to build up in your blood vessels. It builds up in your soft tissue, your muscles, and so that's not good. And I've been in practice now 37 years, almost 38 years, and I've seen, I'm going to guess, hundreds of thousands of x-rays. Many times we start to see calcium being built up around the cartilage, around the muscles, around the blood vessels. And many doctors say, well, that's just natural. That just happens. It's normal. It's not normal. It's average. It's not normal. Average is what everybody else has. Normal is what it should be. I don't want you to be average. I want you to be normal. So too much calcium can be very dangerous if you don't have the K2 to drive it into the bones. And if you're eating a good diet, you don't really have to worry about calcium supplementation either, because it's not so much how much calcium you intake, it's how much acid you eat. So, for example, if you're eating acid foods, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, those acid foods have to be neutralized when they get into the body, or else they'll cause damage. So the body uses calcium as its primary neutralizing agent. So your body gives up calcium from the bones or the blood vessels to neutralize the acids in the blood. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep the calcium in the body where it belongs. So most cases, you don't need more calcium, you need less acid. So that's kind of neat. That's a neat way of looking at things. So vitamin D3 is very important for the immune system, but make sure you have it with K2 so that you don't build up calcium in the soft tissue. So I know it's a little complicated there, but bottom line is eating good fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds is really going to give you a lot of what you need, and then D3 you can get from a supplement on the website, drjoe.com. Now, fruits and vegetables loaded with vitamin C, I had somebody come in the other day, and I was sitting in a room with a patient, and he said, Dr. Joe, how long did it take you to formulate Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source? And I said, about a year and a half. I was working with a chemist out in California named Ron Manwaran, brilliant man. He passed away, unfortunately. And we said, what's going to be the ultimate supplement? He said, what's your goal? I said, the goal is to make the ultimate supplement. The minimum supplements everybody should take every day. So we formulated Essential Source, which has 72 different ingredients, then Super Greens to complement the Essential Source. And so I take a scoop of each every day. And I can't imagine why you're not either. But there's lots of vitamin C in there as well. Pure vitamin C, not ascorbic acid. So that alone, if you're not willing to do anything else, at least do Super Greens and Essential Source. Really inexpensive, tastes great, powder, shake it up with coconut milk, almond milk, and drink it down. So that's a question. What we're doing today is answering questions I get all the time. Because if you have if you have a question, other people have it too. Side effects of these low-carb, no-carb diets. Everybody wants to go to this low-carb, no-carb diet, and it's going to make you lose weight. You're going to feel great and have all this energy. Well, short-term, you might lose weight. Long-term, not a good idea. So low-carb diets are popular for weight loss. Now, these diets can lead to rapid short-term weight loss. Most of that's going to flush out is going to be water. So when you start losing weight, what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of water to begin with. You're going to say, oh, my God, this diet works great. Not really. Research suggests that's not any better than other weight loss programs and certainly not better for long-term weight loss. Here's the thing about dieting. I used to be fat. Diets don't work. Lifestyle changes work. So I want you to start thinking about lifestyle changes more so than diet. And the secret is, and we talked about this earlier, is get the bad food out of the house. If you have bad food in the house, you're going to eat it. If you have good food in the house, you're going to eat it. And so when I shop, I load up on good foods, and sometimes I buy more than I probably should, so that I'm forced to eat that and not be tempted to eat cookies and crackers and donuts and breads and pastas. Oh, gosh, I got all these tomatoes and nectarines I got to eat. I got to eat these things. Oh, God, I just got this big thing of celery or broccoli. Let me have that. And so I have to still play that game with myself, even though I know what I know. Because the brain wants sugar. The brain wants cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas. And, yeah, of course it does. And, boy, a nice piece of cherry pie right now would be great. Vegan and gluten-free, of course. But that would be great. But I have to be able to say, no, that's not a good idea. I have to make an adult decision. And adulting stinks, man. I don't like growing up. And so we got to do it, though, if we're going to survive and do well. So long-term studies on these low-carb diets consistently show that the adherence to a low-carb diet is associated with increased risk of all-cause mortality. So that's heart disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, all-cause mortality, the risk goes up. Low-carb diets may lead to some perceived short-term benefits, but at the expense of long-term benefits and your overall health. So if you don't know what to eat, go to our website, drjoe.com, and just type in, so what can I eat? Type in those words in the search bar. And you'll listen to me ramble on for about an hour about breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks, and raising kids and parties, and stocking and unstocking your pantry. And so it's a really good opportunity for you to learn. Now, if you like podcasts, on our website, drjoe.com, we have over 2,000 hours of podcasts. So you can type in the search bar what you're looking for and then narrow down your search and listen to what specifically is interest to you. If you're a podcast junkie, like using podcast services, the title of our podcast is Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Dr. Joe for the Health of It. So please feel free to go to your podcast service, Dr. Joe for the Health of It, and you could listen there as well. If you have questions, send them to me through our website, drjoe.com, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can, drjoe.com. But the best thing you can do for your health is just make an appointment to come see us. If you're living in the Atlanta area, or if you're coming to visit, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to meet you, and we'd love to be your doctors. So my doctors are all handpicked by me. They're trained by me, and they're my personal doctors. So you're in good hands. So if you're ready to get well and stay well, drjoe.com. We'd love the opportunity to work with you. Normally the first visit is $712. That's a lot. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, next visit going over the x-rays, complete nutrition evaluation. For our listeners, we've reduced that to $299. So just say you listen to the Dr. Joe Show. And $299, you get all that. The x-rays alone many times cost more than $299. And the reason we do this, people say, Dr. Joe, why do you do this? You're Dr. Joe. You can charge whatever you want. We do this because I want to make it so that people can understand that there's hope, that there are protocols that we can set up for you to try to get you well and keep you well. And then after that, we accept whatever insurance you have, we'll accept you. Sometimes it's in network, sometimes it's out of network. We'll work around all of that. But there's so many policies out there. I think there's like 90 or 100 different policies out there. Talk to my staff. They'll explain everything to you. And if you're ever in a car accident, please, folks, I'm begging you, please come see us immediately. If the car is damaged, you're damaged. That's my experience in 37 years of doing this. If the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So please come see us as quickly as possible. Don't waste time. The insurance companies play games when you don't go to the doctor right away. Oh, you weren't hurt. We're going to deny your claim. Oh, you're just making this up. Oh, you're just trying to get us to pay for it. That's their gig. Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them lie to you and try to, shortchange you. Just come see us right away, drjoe.com. So do that right away. All right. I was going to cover that. I got too much to cover. This. Oh, I like this one. Vegetarian diets, are they beneficial or are they dangerous? Well, I get this question a lot. I've been a vegan now for 35 years, so I think that kind of answers your question. If they were dangerous, I wouldn't be doing them. But population studies, large population studies, consistently show that those eating vegetarian or vegan diets tend to be healthier than those eating omnivorous or plant animal diet, animal inclusive diet. People that eat a plant-based diet tend to have lower rates of heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and also tend to be leaner. There's a growing consensus among health professionals and health organizations that we should all aim to be more plant-based, centered around whole grains, beans, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, while avoiding animal products like meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream. It's worth pointing out that eating a plant-based diet is the only diet proven to reverse heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in the United States. Now, depending how bad and how far gone the heart disease is, but there are a lot of researchers that have done it. Dr. McDougall, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Sinatra, these are all medical researchers, medical doctors, that have proven time and time again that the plant-based diet many times can improve and in many cases reverse heart disease. Number one killer in the country, costs billions of dollars every year. We have a cure, or certainly something that can help, and we're still building cardiac hospitals. We're still charging people for a bypass $120,000. And yet all they have to do in many cases, not all, in many cases is change their diet. I had a medical doctor this morning send me a text, 7 o'clock in the morning. Medical doctor at one of the big universities here. Brilliant doctor. He says, Doc, I need a chiropractor in New York City. Who do you know? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that would have never happened. And here's a guy 7 o'clock in the morning saying, I got to go to Dr. Joe. He knows everybody. So it's really cool the way healthcare has changed. And somebody asked me, I was on a podcast, and they said, what do you see for the future of healthcare? I said, the healthcare system as we know it, I believe, is going to collapse. It's a house of cards right now. But what's going to emerge out of it is chiropractic care, nutrition, supplements, eating right, because we know plant-based diet has been shown to reverse heart disease in many cases. It lowers your risk of type 2 diabetes, cancer. Why wouldn't you do the thing that has been proven time and time and time again? I don't know. Famous man once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Well, now you know. Can't use that excuse anymore. So if you want to get well and stay well, there's 3 things I believe you have to have. Normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, good nutrition. Nutrition is easy. You just have to decide what you're eating. And if you don't know what to eat, drjoe.com, type in, so what can I eat? Listen to the show we did on that. Supplement-wise, again, minimum super greens and essential source. If you're over 30 years old, certainly over 40 years old, if you have a cooked meal, I recommend digestive enzymes. If you don't have a gallbladder, I recommend a supplement called Cholacol. And you can get it through our website. There's a link on something called Standard Process, which is another website. But Standard Process won't sell to the public. They only sell through doctors. So you can go right through our site, order it, they'll ship it to you. If you don't have a gallbladder, I can't imagine why doctors are not screaming you should be taking a supplement, because you can't break down your fat. Gallbladder breaks down fat. The pancreas and the gallbladder are the only 2 places that break down fat. You put such a strain on your pancreas if you don't have a gallbladder. Easy fix. Cholacol. Again, any questions, you can always email me about that. So we have answers. And they're building these beautiful hospitals. They're like palaces. And then they want you to donate to the hospital. It's a profit organization. Donate. That's like a soda company saying, donate to us. Grocery store, just make donations to us so we can, sell more groceries. Drives me insane. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox here for a second. So we know that a plant-based diet works. We know that if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, the most effective, least expensive treatment is chiropractic care. Why are you not at a chiropractor if you have pain? Do it. We have, in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We'd love to be your doctors. Sometimes we need medicine. Sometimes we need surgery. Sometimes we need trigger point injections. Sometimes we need hyperbaric chambers. Sometimes we need physical therapy. We want to be your starting point. Well, we always say chiropractors are the captain of the ship. We steer the ship, and we tell people where to go. So drjoe.com, please make an appointment. Stop suffering needlessly. Get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. That's my goal. Sometimes you got to treat the symptoms, but I want to get to the cause as well. So answering questions, by the way, that you guys send in all the time. This was interesting, too. I covered this the other day, and it got a lot of attention, so I want to cover it again. And it was about resistant starches. Resistant starches are the way I want you to eat your starches from here on out. So what happens is if you cook a starch, let's say it's a potato, let's say it's pasta. You shouldn't eat pasta, by the way, but if you do, gluten-free. If you cook it, refrigerate it overnight and eat it the next day, hot or cold, you're going to absorb about 40% less carbohydrates and less calories than if you cook it and eat it fresh. Wow. Mind blown. So let's assume you want to have potatoes. The darker the color potato, the healthier it is. So purple potatoes are better, yellow potatoes are better, white potatoes are the least beneficial, but they're okay if you're going to eat them as a resistant starch. So cook them up, put them in the refrigerator. Next day, eat them cold or warm them up, 40% less starch. If you want to also take another step to prevent all that sugar from being absorbed and spiking your blood sugar, and diabetics, this is a good trick for you, is add a little vinegar. Now, you could take the vinegar separate. You don't have to mix it in with the potatoes or pasta, whatever. But if you do about a teaspoon or two of vinegar, and it doesn't seem to matter what kind of vinegar. I like raw organic apple cider vinegar. It's more nutritious. But as far as spiking the blood sugar, vinegar seems to help. Lemon juice is okay. Vinegar is better. So if you simply just take a little bit of vinegar, a teaspoon or two or a tablespoon, with your starches, you're going to absorb a lot less starch as well. So that's a neat little trick that you can do. So it's not going to lower your blood pressure. Sometimes people say, apple cider vinegar lowers your blood pressure. I haven't seen any valid studies on that, but we know that the resistant starch with vinegar is a great way to do this, and it's going to help tremendously with your digestion. You can absorb a lot less carbohydrates, and if you have insulin resistance, it's going to help tremendously as well. So what we're doing today is answering questions from our listeners. Frozen fruits and veggies, less nutritious than fresh ones. They're both pretty good. Okay, Clarence Birdseye is the one who came up with flash freezing things, and if you ever read that story, it's kind of cool. He was fishing one day, and a fish, he's ice fishing, and the fish was frozen, and when he brought it into his cabin, it came alive again. And he thought, so if you freeze something, it doesn't really kill the nutrients in it, because the fish came alive again, and so that's how Clarence Birdseye came up with flash freezing. Long story. But either one are good. It's not so much frozen versus fresh. It's not so much eating late at night. It's more what you eat. That's the most important thing. So if you're eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seed, fresh is always better. Frozen is okay. Try to do organic if you can. It's still a million times better than a hamburger or ribs or a cheesesteak. So fresh or frozen, whatever works best for you, whatever more convenient for you, try to do organic if you can. Non-organic frozen okra is still better than French fries. So again, it's all about making better decisions. So it's not so much, it's not only when you eat and how you eat, but what you eat. So only have good foods in the house. And is it better to eat small meals a day or big meals a day? I've seen papers and research go both ways. I'm not really convinced either one is good. I like small meals, but the problem is that the food has to get from your stomach into your small intestine before you put more food on top of it. So if you're eating every 2 hours, the food isn't digested, you're putting more food on top of it, doesn't work that well. So what you want to do is make sure you're hungry before you eat. And that's why you want to wait several hours. Now, if I have cantaloupe, it's out of my stomach in my small intestine in about a half hour, 45 minutes. If I have steak, 6 hours. So it depends what you eat as to how often you can eat. So it's a good idea to just wait till you start getting a little hungry before you have your next meal. And then you know your brain is saying, okay, it's time to put some food in there. Let the food get from your stomach to your small intestine. Grazing like that, the food never gets digested properly because you keep dumping food in. All right, I'm almost out of time here. Gosh, so much more to cover. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer them for you. Best thing you could do, make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com, in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Please follow us on social media. I need you to do this. We need to get this word out. At Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, at Dr. Joe Esposito. So please do that right now, and then share our links that we send out when we do posts with your friends. Let's build this network. Let's work together to try to get people healthy, lower the cost of healthcare, and naturally get well and stay well. And if you're a podcast junkie, Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we have hundreds of hours there. And on our website, we have audio and video, drjoe.com. Website again, folks, drjoe.com. I hope to see you all soon. All right. Questions?
We do.
Okay.
We have one from LinkedIn. How about that?
All right. We got a LinkedIn. You're the first LinkedIn question ever.
Yes, about
Under stretch.
gastrointestinal arteriovenous malfunction.
Gastrointestinal arteriovenous malfunction.
Yeah, looking for an appropriate diet.
Okay, well, the appropriate diet for any gastrointestinal issue would be fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. You want to stay away from wheat and dairy products? Absolutely. Wheat and dairy products are just horrible for gastrointestinal issues. Meat is really hard to digest. So if you go to our website, drjoe.com, just type in, so what can I eat? And there's your breakdown. And that should be the best. Now, some people may not do well with certain foods. That's okay. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay, well, you know what, Dr. Joe? I ate artichokes and I got gas from it. Well, then don't eat artichokes. Or understand you might get a little gas from it. Don't freak out because of one thing. Okay? But so what can I eat is going to give you the whole layout of what you should do. Next question.
When you were talking about K2, should teens also take K2?
Absolutely. Yes. And babies. Everybody. If you're alive, you should be taking D3 with K2.
All right. Along with teens here, should a 15-year-old take adult vitamins?
Yes, 15 is fine. Super Green's an essential source minimum, and then I would add some to that as well. But minimum Super Green's an essential source and vitamin D.
All right. Let's go a little younger here. Toddlers.
I like toddlers.
Getting a lot of colds from social interactions. How can that be avoided?
I'd give them 2 drops of Dr. Joe's vitamin D3 every day with K2. Super Greens, take Super Greens, essential source actually. Whip up some ice cream with it, some frozen bananas and whatever their favorite, coconut milk, almond milk, soy milk, juice. Whip it up and make a little ice cream for them. That should help tremendously. At that age, they're probably producing enough glutathione. For adults, I'd say glutathione is important. But the key really is getting them away from sugar. And that's so hard for toddlers because the sugar blows out the immune system. And that's the secret right there. And then chiropractic care is a wonderful way to keep the immune system strong. A lot of studies have shown it can stimulate immune system function. So bring them in. Let's get them adjusted. We'll check their stomach and we'll get them on the supplements. So, and again, it's okay for kids to get sick sometimes because it teaches them how to deal with sickness. There's something called T cells, and the T cells train the other cells on how to deal with things. So it's not terrible to have a little sickness every now and then in kids, especially. It helps build the immune system.
And with our glutathione, it comes in a capsule, so you can just pop that open, pour a little out.
Yep, sprinkle it on. Yep.
Don't have to get the 3-year-old to try and swallow a capsule. That's not going to work.
Good point. Joe's a professional father over there, so he knows these secrets. So.
Yeah, we've done this once or twice. All right. Somebody's looking for a cleanse for the kidneys and liver.
You don't necessarily, well, we can do the 21-day cleanse for both kidney and liver. So I'd say go to Dr. Joe, 21-day cleanse, 21-day weight loss. It's all the same thing. I would do that for 21 days and then stop eating 7 deadly sins, and that'll take the stress off the liver and the kidney. So the 21-day cleanse is what I'd recommend. It's on the website, drjoe.com.
All right. We also had a recommendation here for elderberry syrup for kids.
Elderberry syrup is very good for kids too, yeah. That helps the immune system. And they'll take that because it's sweeter.
Have that in my fridge.
There you go. Joe knows.
Somebody's looking for some help with some constipation.
Dr. Joe's intestinal formula is really good for that. Kind of gets the bowels moving. Take 1 the first day, 2 the next day, 3 the next day, 4 the next day. Whatever level your bowels start moving at, that's how many you should take. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I don't know. Everybody's different. But you might want to consider chiropractic care. The nerves in the low back control the colon. So many times just an adjustment fixes the constipation. Sometimes the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm. Sometimes the valve, called the ileocecal valve, is stuck open or stuck closed. So many times constipation is not only chemical from your diet, it could be physical. But Dr. Joe's intestinal formula would be a good start for that. And then come see us.
All right, 21-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis.
Aha.
Is there a way that you could suggest that she no longer need medication?
Yes. Well, I can't promise that. But go to our website, type in the word arthritis, listen to the show we did on arthritis. We cover rheumatoid and osteo. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. So you can also listen to the show we did on autoimmunity. And you got to stabilize the immune system. And at 21, I strongly advise you do this starting now, today, immediately. Because rheumatoid arthritis eats away at your joints. And as you get older, the joints may not be repairable. So you want to get on that right away. So listen to the show we did on rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. Listen to the show we did on autoimmunity. And then you want to come see us so we can realign the joints so they stop wearing out physically. And let's stabilize that immune system. Because if you have one autoimmune disease, many times you have others. So just throwing it out there. What else?
All right. Continue with medications. This came in on the website. Can someone who is taking blood pressure meds also take nitric oxide support?
Absolutely. In fact, they should. But monitor your blood pressure, because if it goes too low, you have to give up the nitric oxide or give up the medication. I'll wink at you and say you decide. So
All right, and someone's looking for a colon cleanse recommendation.
Well, the 21-day cleanse is a great way to get everything working, but if it's constipation, then you want to add Dr. Joe's intestinal formula. So the 21-day cleanse is a great jump start. It's a little challenging the first 2 or 3 days, but after that, people are like, oh my God, I never felt so good in my life. This is amazing. So just do it. It's real easy. And the money you save on food actually almost pays for the whole cleanse itself. So it's almost a wash. So what else?
I think that is all for today.
All right, folks, follow us on social media, whatever form you're not on, at Dr. Joe Esposito. I'll be on 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, WSBRadio.com, 7:50 a.m., 95.5 FM in Atlanta. I'd love to have you call in and listen in. And any questions, where do we send them? drjoe.com.
Dr. Joe.
drjoe.com. See you next week.